practice. So welcome all. Thank you for joining me. Today is a live Vinyasa flow. So I want you to meet me on the mat and we will get started. Just remember, this is an invitation. It is an invitation for you to invite your body into these different poses. It is not about doing what my body can do. It's about doing what feels best for you. So let's go ahead and take a seat on our mats. So we come into Sukhasana, this easy seated pose. We have the option of using blocks while we're seated, or we can also just take ourselves onto a blanket. We can even have like a little mini bolster, whatever feels best for you. If you're sitting on your block, I need you to bring your sit bones to the front edge of your block and let your hips tip forward. So a little demo of that is to let the hips tip forward and stagger your heels. This may bring some ease into the hips as well as your knees. It just depends on what feels best for you. From here, we can cross at the ankles. We can move to the mid shins. And if we're doing that, we want to keep our heels and our feet almost underneath our knees, really allowing this activation. And then I want you to lift from your belly button up through the crown of the head so we sit nice and tall. If you're comfortable, close your eyes. Otherwise, take a soft gaze to the tip of the nose. And let your hands just go wherever it is most comfortable for you. And I just want you to take some time right now to relax into your breath. This moment of centering, this ability to start to turn off that external stimuli and draw the awareness in. Being aware of your body in this space. Feeling the connection of your sit bones to the earth, the crown of the head drawing you to the sun. So you may feel a little tension in your abs as it grips to keep you tall. But notice, are you putting tension in the jaw? And if so, relax your jaw. Seal the lips and take the breath through the nose. Just allowing yourself to relax, to quiet the mind. Letting go of those thoughts and to-do lists. They'll still be there when class is over. So in this moment, think of your thoughts like books. And we're going to close those books or turn off those thoughts, right? And put those books on the shelf, knowing we can always deal with them later. And then bringing our focus deeper into the breath, let's place one hand on the heart and the other hand on the stomach. And moving through this three-part breath, as you inhale, feel your belly expand, bring the air behind your heart, and then let it catch in the back of the throat. Then as you exhale, you release from the throat, you feel the chest release and the belly drawing nice and tight. And let's continue like this. Inhale nice and deep. Exhale nice and slow. Continue at your own pace. Think of this balloon. You inhale, fill it a third, another third until the balloon is full, and then you release a third, another third, and then the balloon is empty. So feel your body expanding with that inhale, and then deflating with that exhale. Our breath is just as important as any poses we will do. Take 2 more breath cycles wherever you're at. You can continue with these deeper breaths or return to the normal pace of your breath. But let's release our hands in front, keeping your sit bones glued to the mat, and slowly start to walk your hands forward. And as you reach out, push your sit bones into the mat and let your head and neck release. Some of us will get a lot of feedback from our hips, so if you need to walk your hands in, or notice, are you hinging from the hips or from the belly button? And if it's from the belly button, take your fingertips behind the back and give this assist forward. But wherever you're at, lengthen, reach your heart to your thumbs, let the head and neck relax. Let's walk our hands into the body. And as you sit up nice and tall, place your left hand outside your hip and inhale, stretch over with the right. Inhale up nice and tall. From here, exhale, bring the left arm across, turning and looking to your right. Or left, just depends. I'm not sure what view you're getting of me. And then slowly come back to center. Tip back into your hands, release the legs, and now bring the other leg in front. So again, we either have our heels as close to underneath our knees as we can, we move to the ankles, or we stagger the heels. Listen to your hips and knees, what do they need? And again, we sit up nice and tall, we can place our hands in front. Notice as your bottom peeling off the floor, and if so, push into the fingertips to send it back down. And then a slow walk of the hands forward. Letting the head and neck relax, pushing the ground away to keep your glutes sealed to the earth. Head and neck releases, but offering the heart towards your thumbs so you get this lengthening through the top of the head. And then slowly walk the hands back into the body. Place your hand outside your hip. Inhale, lift up and over, stretching to the side. Rolling your shoulder back so your chest can open to the sun as well. Inhale up nice and tall for a spinal twist. Exhale, bring that arm across, looking to the back shoulder. Coming back to center. Inhale, circle those arms up to the sun. Exhale, bring the hands down through the midline. Again, inhale, circle to the sun. Exhale, down and through. One more time, rise up. Let the hands rest at the heart as you gaze to the tip of the fingers or close the eyes. So whatever brought you on the mat today, I want you to honor that. Honor you. What does your body need? And as we move through this practice, allow yourself to let what comes come, let what goes go, and be with what is left behind. Relax, have fun. As we raise the gaze and we go ahead and release, meet me in table pose, coming to all fours. So as we come onto all fours, we're going to open our hands up shoulder width apart. Our knees are going to open hip width apart. And I want you to take your shoulders and circle them around your hands. So getting a little more warm up into the wrists, so a little grip of your fingertips to the mat. One more time around in this direction. And then I want you to pause. Change direction, circle yourself around, finding that pace that works for you. Two more here. And on that last one, come back to center. I want you to turn your toes under, really press into the big toes, careful of rolling to your pinkies. And then slowly walk your hands back to your knees. And then walk your hands up your thighs. And then maybe place your hands at your heart. So you get this stack of shoulders over hips, hips over heels, heels over toes. And then slowly release your hands to your thighs, down to your knees, walk your hands out, and we're going to tap our feet out and just giving ourselves a little release. From here, what I want you to do is place the block forward of your hands, and then move your hands forward as you shift into kneeling plank. And as we've set up for 8-point press, turn your toes under. We're not going to lean back, so they'll get a little release. As your elbows drop into your ribs, keep your bottom up in the air and send your chest onto the block. And let your chin, if it can, lightly touch the mat. So 8 points. Chest, chin, hands, knees, toes. Push into the mat and slowly release back. Still let the toes stretch out. And then come forward again, chest over the block. If you realize the block is too far away from you, maybe you need to turn it up onto the horizontal line, and you're going to then come here. So then 8 points are still touching. Chest, chin, hands, knees, toes, bottom is up in the air. Inhale, press up. Exhale, float back. Let's do this one more time with the prop. Inhale forward, chest over thumbs. Either release the block flat, or maybe you need it to go vertical because you are not able to go that far. And it's okay. So as we bend our elbows in, we're going to send our chest down to the block. And so we have elbows hugging, knees and toes on the floor, and a little release of the chin. If it doesn't touch, don't worry. And then inhale, press up. Exhale, float back. Now, move the block out of the way, and let's do this pose without the block if you can. Inhale forward to kneeling plank. Then elbows in, slowly lower your chest and chin. Our chest is right on top of our thumbs. Inhale, press up. Exhale, hinge back. Take a pause here, look towards the screen. Now for some of you, you're not going to come forward far enough. And you're going to try and figure out, how do I get my chest down? So you're going to kind of do something like this, and it doesn't work, right? So I need you to make sure you're forward. And your hips aren't dropping down as you try and do this. Your tailbone stays lifted. Be careful of chicken wings. And what I mean by that is your elbows going out to the side. That is chicken wings. I need your elbows to pull back like a tricep dip. So as we come here, our chest is over thumbs. Those of you that are back in child's pose, let's all come forward, chest over thumbs. Keep your hips up in the air, and then slowly lower. If you can't reach the floor, it's okay. Use the block. Inhale, press up. Meet me in down dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Hips up to the sky. Heels releasing towards the earth. Maybe your knees have to bend. Maybe they're going to go straight. But then some of us, let's bend the left knee and rock the right heel down to the mat. Without shifting your hips, bend the right knee, release your left heel to the mat. And again, bend and release one heel down. Bend and release the other heel down. If you can straighten both legs, I need you to look to your knees or your ankles. Really let your head hang. Press a little firmer between the thumb and index finger. And then slowly begin to walk your feet forward to your hands, coming into Uttanasana, forward fold. And I invite you, the block may be there, that you're going to use the block. You'll use your shins or your thighs, or can you look to your knees or your upper thighs, letting your head hang, and hug the opposite elbow. Really lengthening towards the floor with the upper body, like you're really folding yourself over your legs. And then inhale, bend those knees, sweep tall up to the sky as you stand tall, and exhale, hands into the heart center. Take a pause here. As we move through our sun salutations, this will be the fastest part of the class. But I want to do a half sun A and a full sun A. So when we move into Surya Namaskara A, if you're like, I don't want to do that today, then you're going to stick with half sun A. So it's up to you on what you want to do. So standing nice and tall in Tadasana. And then just take a nice deep inhale. Exhale, let it out. Bring the hands to the heart. Inhale, rise to the sun, look to those thumbs. Exhale, fold to the earth. Inhale, halfway lift, fingers to shins, flatten the back. Exhale, fold. With knees bent or straight, it is up to you. Inhale, reverse swan up to the sun. Rise up, touch those palms, hands lower to heart. Again, inhale, rise. Exhale, fold to the earth. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse up to the sun. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take this 2 more times. Rise to the sun. Fold to the earth. Halfway lift. And fold. Rise back to the sky. Hands to heart. Last one on your own. Take a pause with the hands at the heart. Allow yourself to make this commitment of letting go of judgments, letting go of expectations, and letting go of competition. And what I mean by that is if you're by yourself, there's really no one to compete with unless it's me, and we're not in the same room, so let that go. But it's that internal competition of, oh, I did this like this last week or yesterday. Let that go. Be in the moment today. Let's move through Surya Namaskar A, Sun Salutation A. The first 2 rounds will give you kneeling versions, and then we'll mix it up after that. Inhale, rise to the sky. Exhale, fold to the earth. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Let's bend our knees and move into kneeling plank. And then exhale all the way to the mat for relaxed crocodile. Inhale, baby cobra, lift heart and hands. Exhale, press back, hold child's pose, 4 deep breaths here. Feel like your back can rise to the sky as you take these deep breaths. 1 more deep breath. Then on your next inhale, look to the thumbs, bring the feet forward to your hands. Exhale into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Rise up to the sun. Hands lower to the heart. Again, inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold to the earth. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bend knees and arrive in kneeling plank. Here's our change up. Exhale, half crocodile, elbows into ribs. Inhale, cobra, hips down, elbows stay bent. Exhale, float back to child's pose. Remember those 4 deep breaths here. Reach the arms long and strong. On your next inhale, look to those thumbs. Bring the feet forward to your hands. Exhale into fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Rise to the sun. Hands to the heart. So if you'd like the frill version, here it comes. Inhale, rise to the sky. Exhale, fold to the earth. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bend knees, make your way into plank, and then shift shoulders over thumbs. Exhale, lower to crocodile. Inhale, scoop up dog. Exhale, hinge back. Hold your down dog. Hips are high, heels are heavy. Feel like you're hugging the triceps towards those ears. 1 more deep breath here. Then inhale, bend knees, look to thumbs, make your way to your hands into your fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Rise up to the sky. Hands come into the heart center. Pause. Let's take 2 more rounds like this. We reach to the sun. Fold to the earth. Halfway lift and fold. Make your way to plank or kneel. Shift shoulders, lower crocodile, half or relax. Scoop to the sun, up dog, cobra or baby cobra. Hinge back, down dog or child's pose. So I gave you 3 different variations. It's not about what I can do. I need you to move through what your own body can do. On your next inhale, bend knees, look to thumbs. Make your way to your hands into forward fold. Lift halfway, then fold. Rise to the sky, hands lower to heart. Last round is at your own pace. So start your inhale and continue to move, breath with movement. One more deep breath. And then when you're ready, we arrive back at the mat in our own time to stand tall and just breathe. You may feel your body got a lot warmer. heart rate has gone up. So we use that sun salutation to stoke that internal fire. So allow yourself to just relax for a moment, stand tall in Tadasana. If your feet are together, I'd like you to open them up hip width apart. A lot of times you'll hear me say, have your feet on railroad tracks. And when I say this, this means I want your feet hip width apart. If you hear me talk about having your feet on a tightrope, that is your heels aligned or even your feet aligned. So just know that some of my cueing may be a little different because I cue it referring to things that maybe you can visualize. So as you stand nice and tall, let's open the palms out so we really open the chest. When you do this, you may feel your ribs pop. I want you to imagine you're trying to pull your ribs away from your shirt, right? So we're pulling our ribs in and back without rounding. So staying tall, opening the heart, and let's move into Utkatasana, chair pose, sitting the hips back and down. Chest stays lifted, weight is in the heels. Notice, are you pulling your knees forward? It's a lot of strain for the knees. So sitting your hips behind your heels, looking straight ahead. Making our way into Virabhadrasana 1, keep your right foot planted, step your left foot back. Lifting the heart up to the sun. Again, we weave the ribs in as if we're pulling them away from our shirt, but then grow tall. Front knee bent, back leg straight. Coming into Humble Warrior, I want you to release and interlace the fingers behind the back. But instead of drawing down, can you draw out on an angle? And then slowly bow inside your thigh. When you do this, hug your right hip in and back. As we make our way in to half moon, release your right hand forward and on a diagonal from your pinky toe, and then lift up into that right hip. Now for some of us, a block comes in handy. We can take the block vertical, horizontal, or flat. But I need you to understand we're trying to keep this shoulder, elbow, wrist stacked while we're here. So doing what feels best for you. I want you to release into a low lunge to step into plank. Here's our power vinyasa. Either stay here or lower to crocodile. Lift to up dog, and let's all meet in down dog. So holding here, nice flow of breath. Then bend knees, look to thumbs, make your way to the top of your mat into forward fold. Inhale, rise up to the side. Exhale, sit in chair. Weight is in the heels, looking straight ahead. As you make your way into Virabhadrasana 1, now keep your left leg planted, step your right foot back. Pull the ribs in, reach the heart to the side. Equal pressure into both feet. Then release the arms behind, interlace the fingers, Humble Warrior. Bow forward, hug your left hip in. Notice, are you swinging the hip out? I need you to pull this left hip in and back and bow. Look to your right heel. As we float into half moon, Ardha Chandrasana, release the left hand forward, rise up into that left hip. So we're not going heavy to the floor. Feel the energy pull up into the hip and reach out that right arm. Let's meet in a low lunge to transition into plank. And then I want you to take your vinyasa, lower to crocodile, scoop to up dog, hinge back, hold down dog. So we'll keep building on these poses we've just done. So let's bend our knees, look to thumbs, make our way to our hands into forward fold. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, sit in chair. Let's take a little flow here. Inhale, lift the knees, balancing chair, heels, not the knees. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift the heels. Sometimes it's what I'm doing, not what I'm saying. Good, we're gonna take this 3 more times. Heel raise and lower. Last one. As we release into Virabhadrasana 1, send the left foot back, interlace the fingers, raise the palms, look up. But be careful, are you letting everything go or are you still pulling the ribs in? Reaching to the sky. Release into Humble Warrior, bowing forward. Floating into half moon, we can take the hand forward, lift the energy up and extend it through the left hand. Can you bend the knee? Can you reach for the outer blade of the foot? Rolling your left shoulder blade into your spine. Looking down will help you with balance. You can look to the side, you can look up to the sky. Notice what happens with your balance when you do that. Let's now control the release into warrior two. So slowly send that left foot back, pull with your core to rise up, and reach long through the arms. So you're going to feel this extension. Just as much power that is in your legs, use the same power equally in the arms. Coming into side angle, Parsvakonasana, tip your forearm to the thigh. You can sweep the arm down, just circle and open your chest to the side. Be careful of curling your toes into the floor. And then let's float into reverse warrior. Rise up, still in warrior, two legs. Stretch to the back of your mat. If you need help, place your hand on your hip. But be careful of trying to straighten the leg because you feel this burn in the quad. Meet that burn. Burn is change. We create this power in our bodies. And then I want you to windmill down to that low lunge. Step into plank. Take that power vinyasa or stay in plank until we meet in down dog. So Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look to thumbs, step or hop to your hands. Again, you heel toes, feet apart. Inhale, reach up to the sky. Exhale, sit in chair. Are you ready for that flow? So make sure your butt is behind your heels and then lift your heels and lower. Lift and lower. A little rocking chair here, right? Here's 3, 2, and 1. Sit in chair, float into Virabhadrasana 1, warrior 1. Step that right foot back. Interlace the fingers, press palms up, look up. Keep tucking your right glute under like you're in cat pose, but bend into that left knee. Continue to fire up through the right leg as we release into humble warrior. Bow inside that thigh. Hold the pose, not the breath. Hug the left hip in and back. Then release your left hand forward of the pinky toe. Pull all the energy up into that hip and through the right hand. Stay here or bend the knee. Stay or reach to the outer blade of your foot. And I'm not just holding, roll your right shoulder blade into the spine. Open your chest just a little bit more. Use your fingers to push the floor away. Now that power through the legs for warrior 2. Release slowly. Bend that knee to send the foot down with intent and then rise up. We don't want this right leg just to drop to the floor. Reach long. Adjust your stance. You can gaze over the front fingertips. You can look straight out to the side. It is up to you. Be careful of the hips going sassy, meaning your right hip is riding higher than your left. Adjust the hips so they're neutral. If that does not work for you, you're going to heel toe to stagger the feet, and maybe that'll release, or close your stance. Let's move into side angle, Parsvakonasana. Tip the forearm to the thigh. You can sweep the arm down and roll the chest open. We have our own ways to get into poses. What feels best for you today? Coming into reverse warrior, rising up and stretching. Some of us want to start to get out of that burn. Bend into it. Reach, reach, reach. Hand to the hip for a little more support. It's up to you. Windmill down, setting up for our vinyasa. Step into plank. Stay here or lower to crocodile. Lift up dog. Hinge back. Hold down dog. Take a few breaths here. Then come back to the top of your mat. So our theme of undoing, let's do some twisting. So bring those feet together. And then inhale, rise tall. Exhale, sit in chair with the hands at the heart. Now, I invite you to stay right here, but remember, stick your bottom back. Try not to drop your head to the floor when we twist. Bring your right elbow across, press the left hand into right. Take a moment, look at your knees. They should be even. So you can look down. If your right knee is pulling forward, you are twisting from your hips instead of from the belly button. So even out the knees, come into this twist. Your right foot is going to stay planted. Be very careful. You want to end up on railroad tracks. So you're going to open your left foot up for warrior one. Stepping it out. You may have to heel toe the right foot over. Reaching up, looking up, or taking the hands behind the head, lifting the heart as you tip back. Come into humble warrior. Oh, all this fire in the right leg. Breathe through it. Floating into half moon, release the hand, lift up, 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 up. Now, we were gripping the left foot with the left hand. Can you hold that grip? Ready to have a little fun? Look to the floor. Maybe you're going to bring your right hand up and grip the leg, left foot. Open, squeeze your shoulder blades in. Just because I take a variation, some of you want it, some of you don't. If you don't want it, don't do it. Release into warrior two, rising up. Now let's take eagle arms, right elbow on top of left, hug shoulders or wrap hands. Pull your elbows higher, bend into that knee. Then, straighten the leg, lift your toes, bend the knee, straighten, lift toes. For some of us, I'm just giving you a little break of all this quad firing up. Now hold in warrior two, tip into side angle. And then float into reverse warrior. But let's put these two poses together. Inhale to side, exhale, reverse. Now we can lessen it. Hand to the thigh, hand to the hip. Or we can deepen it. Sweep past that thigh. Take three more in whatever variation works for you. You have this last set from reverse, windmill down into that low lunge, but I want you to sweep into three-legged dog. Remember, we're adding on. Flex the foot, bend the knee, hip rolls open. From here, come forward and bring the right knee over to the left elbow. Rise back into hip opener. Right knee, left elbow. Open up. Now, right knee, left elbow. Flip your left heel to the floor. Either send your knee down for Vinyasa, side plank and kneeling open, or send your foot across and lift up. Pull that bottom hip away from the earth. Another option, wrap the right leg over the left. Come back in to that hip opener. As we make our way into Anjaneyasana, warrior lunge, sweep the foot between the fingers or hands and let your knee ride down. I need you to then shift your hips forward. So if your foot came behind your hand, you may have to pick it up, move it forward, shift. I want you to make sure that your kneecap, you're not sitting back with your hip on top of your knee. You've shifted that left hip forward, so it's in its own space, kind of in between both legs. Pushing into your big toe mound. Dig your left toes into the floor. Careful of letting them roll to the pinky side or just roll, so hips forward. As we move into a variation, a pyramid pose, lift your knee, straighten the leg. Now use your fingertips to push the floor away or use your blocks, but bend and hinge from the hips. Meet me in plank. Stay here or lower coconut. Lift up dog. Hinge back. Hold down dog. If at any time you're thinking, I can't, My body doesn't. I want you to let that go. What can it do? And move from there. As we look at our thumbs, we make our way to our hands. We heel toe the feet together. We rise up to the sky. We exhale to sit in chair, waves in the heels. Be careful of pulling your knees forward to do this. Sit back. As we twist to the right with our left elbow, bring the elbow across. Press into the hands. Are the knees even? So many things, and all I want you to do is remember to breathe. That's what's important. As we release and make our way into warrior one, send the right foot back. You may have to heel toe that left foot over. Interlace the palms up to the sky. Option to stay here, hands behind the head. Lift from the heart, not from the low back. Lift up. Tuck your right glute under. Coming into humble warrior, pitch forward, looking to your right heel. Hug that left hip in and back. Another variation for half moon. Remember, we release, rise up. So we can stay here. We can come to the outer blade of the foot, roll the right shoulder in, or we see if we can lift that left hand. Looking down to the earth. Maybe you're like me and moving all over the place. I have better balance on one side than the other. It's okay. Release into warrior two. Either reaching the arms out or left elbow on top of right. Hug shoulders or wrap hands. And then we can take a little movement with the left leg. Straighten the knee, lift toes, come back down. Straighten, lift toes, come down. And you can lift and lower the elbows above the shoulders, back in line. Above the shoulders, back in line. Then reach the arms out nice and long. Tip into side angle. Parsvakonasana. And as you come into reverse warrior, then can you float? Side angle to reverse. Hand, if it helps, or deeper, past the thighs. 3 more sets. Last 2. If you need to move slower or not even do these, that's fine. And then let's slowly windmill down, sweep into 3-legged dog. Flex the foot, bend the knee, let the hip open. Bring the left knee towards the right elbow. Open back up. Again, knee towards the elbow. Open back up. Setting up for side plank, whatever variation works for you. Come across, either send the knee down, kick the foot out, and lift up. Come back into that hip opener. And let's move into Anjaneyasana, warrior lunge. Sweep the toes past your fingers. Let your knee come down. Drop those hips forward. Drive your big toe. Be careful of rolling to the pinky side. Keep your heel aiming to the sky. Push your hips forward. As we make our way into a funky version of pyramid, use your fingertips on the floor or on the mat. Lift your right knee, then straighten the leg. So push the floor away and then hinge. Making your way into plank and either staying here or lower crocodile. Lift up dog, hinge back, hold down dog. Just allow yourself to find your center. This ability to let go of any negative self-talk and just allow yourself to move. Bend knees, look to thumbs, make your way into fold. Bring the feet together. Inhale, rise up. Exhale into chair. 1 more round for each side. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, bring that elbow over. Take a pause here. Remember when we were doing that rocking chair? Can you lift your heels and lower? Lift and lower. 2 more. Releasing into Virabhadrasana 1. Warrior 1. Reaching up, interlacing the fingers up, or a little tip back here. Floating into humble warrior. Just a little quicker pace between our poses. Rising into your variation of half moon. Do you need both hands on the earth? Will you grip the foot with one hand or both hands? Floating into warrior two, either here or eagle arms. From here, as you straighten the leg, tip your hands to the left, and then come back up. So a little side stretch. Tip, and come back up. Two more. Hands tip to the left. Yeah, one more. Spread it wide, tip into side angle, float into reverse. Side angle, and reverse. Give me two more just like this. You've got this. Keep your breath moving with the body. Windmill down for that low lunge, and then sweep into three-legged. From three-legged, we make our way into that hip opener. Pull the knee across to plank with the knee going to elbow. Open back up. Pull across. Take your side plank. As you reach forward into chest over thumbs, maybe you're going to hold the outer blade of the foot. Lift your bottom hip. Come back into that hip opener. And float into Anjaneyasana, warrior lunge. Knee down, hips pressing forward. Either stay down or press your foot flat with your shin and lift up. Reach your fingers, grow the side body. You may feel your hip dropping even deeper, so I need you to press into the big toe mound. Hug that knee in. Coming into our variation of pyramid pose, toes turn under, lift up, bow forward. Take a little bend to the back knee, straighten the leg. We usually do the front, so mind-body connection. Bend back knee, straighten. Two more, bend, straighten. Last one. Step into plank and either stay or vinyasa. Meet me in down dog. All right, we have one more side of the body to go. You can do this. So let's make our way into a forward fold. Heel toe the feet together. Rise to the sky. Exhale, sit in chair. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, left elbow towards right. Push to create a deeper twist, and then rock the chair. Lift the heels lower. Lift. If you have better balance looking to the floor, stay looking to the floor. But let's meet in warrior one. Send that right foot back. Reach up. Option to interlace, flip the palms, or option to tip back into those hands. Come into humble warrior. Float into half moon. Whatever variation you choose, this is your practice. I want to give variations for all levels because we're all at different places in our practice. Floating into warrior two. Eagle arms if you'd like. Left elbow on top, wrap to hands or hug shoulders. When you straighten the legs, tip your hands to the right. And then come back down. So tip away from that left leg. Two more. And as we float the arms out, tip into side angle. Then take it to reverse. And three more just like this. You've got this. I want you to windmill down into that low lunge. Sweep into three-legged dog. You can make your way into hip opener. Keep your shoulders square because we're coming into plank, and if we're opening and closing, that's a lot on the shoulder girdle. Come across, rise up. Come across. Now is your time to choose your side plank. Come across, and where will you take the leg? Down, with the knee down, straight out, or holding the outer blade of the foot. Come back into hip opener. And float into your warrior lunge. Toes past the fingers, knee down. Drop the hips. Now you can stay here, or release your foot flat, pushing strong into your shin, core power to lift. Hands down to the earth, turn the toes under, our variation of pyramid, straighten the legs. And then when you're ready, either hold or bend the back knee, straighten. Bend and straighten. 2 more times. Taking your last vinyasa, step into plank and either stay here or lower to the earth, scoop to the sun, hinge back, hold. Go ahead and bring your knees down to the mat. And as you do this, this is where I was mentioning in the description, we are going to take ourselves into some myofascial release. So release your right foot flat to the floor, keep with your bent knee. Take your left knee on top of your right calf and start to draw it along your calf. Rocking forward and back on those hands. If you're screaming because you put your knee too heavy into your calf, then you're going to need to lighten up that knee. But come to the inner part of the calf, rolling your knee of the left leg along the right. You can move across to the outer side of that calf on the outside of your right calf. Just rocking and dragging that kneecap along the right calf. Keep breathing. Our calves need love, and sometimes we forget about them. And so, just giving this release. All right. As you come here, kick your right foot further across the mat, take your left knee behind. We're going to take a stretch here, but it's not a cow face stretch. When you send your hips back, it's only to lift your right knee, the leg that's in front, about 1 inch or 2 off the mat. So as you see, the knee lifts, and then you're going to walk your hands out further and fold a little bit more. Since your right leg is on top, let's walk the hands over to the left and deepen that stretch. And your hips may shift a little to the right, and that's okay. Try not to sit on your calf or on your heel. We're still forward into the hands. Come back to center, and then bring both knees back down to the mat, uncross the legs. So again, we are now going to take that fascia release with the left leg. So keep your left foot flat on the floor. If your toes are turned under, release. Take your right knee on top of the left calf and start to draw your knee back and forth over that calf. You can do this with a tennis ball or a fascia release ball, but you're going to have to do it on the floor with your leg, and then here's the ball. Your leg would be on the ball. So if you don't have that, this is just a nice way to do this fascia release without having to have other props. So your knee becomes a great prop. Making sure you're doing both the calf, center, and then the sides. Breathing. Instead of clenching your teeth, breathe through the movements you're doing. All right, let's take a pause. Kick your left leg across the mat. Take your right knee behind. Same thing while we're here. We're sending our hips back to lift our knee. We can walk our arms forward. So we're laying over the thighs just a little bit more. And then some of us will stay center and others will walk the hands to the right. And then just deepening that stretch for the left. Play around with hand placement, with how far back you want your hips to go. But we're not resting anything on another body part, but maybe just the chest. But there should be space between your glutes and your right leg. So come on back to center. Uncross the legs. Open your knees nice and wide. Take your hands through the legs and dive your arms through. I call this toddler's pose. And I say that because a lot of times toddlers sleep like this. It's a variation of child's pose. Relax, start to let your body slowly return to a place of ease. Pick the head up, turn it to the other side. Let your shoulders roll forward. If this bothers you in any way and you need to be in child's pose or puppy pose, those are always options. As you start to come out of this pose, you'll rise up, sit yourself off to one side, and bring the legs around. If you have a block, I want you to use the block for these next two movements. If you don't have a block, I'm going to give you variations. So the first one is this chest opener, shoulder opener, kind of like a back bend. The narrow edge, long narrow of your block is going to come right behind you at your shoulder blades, right at the base of your shoulder blades, like it's pushing up the back side of your heart. So you're going to lean back so your shoulder blades are on that, and then you're going to move your feet in closer. If you think of cow pose, that's what I want you to emulate here. Your bottom stays glued to the floor, and then you're going to open up, place your palms together. If this is too tight for your shoulders, you're going to interlace the fingers behind your head, drop back. Otherwise, arch. Look at how much space you're going to arch between your low back and that block. And then you're going to let your head tip back and try and get the arms overhead. Arch, arch, arch. Your body is not coming, your butt is not coming off the floor. If you're tight in your shoulders and you're here, that's okay. Over time, they may drop. Or you're going to have to interlace your fingers and just rest back here. So find what works for you. 2 more breaths. Slowly, if your arms are overhead, bring them behind your head. Lift your head and neck. Place your hands on the earth and rise up. Take a pause here to turn yourself to one side. Turn yourself to the other side. This next round is, again, the block is vertical, but you're going to take it to your sacrum, and I'm going to turn around for a second. It's the bony shelf above your tailbone. So the block is going to be here, not up here at your waistband, down here, as if your hip bones were going to melt over them. So first, lay back into bridge pose. Second, lift your hips off the earth. Some of you may have to come onto your tiptoes to get the block underneath, and then it goes to that sacrum, that bony shelf above your tailbone. And you're going to feel like it's making your hips jut up to the ceiling. Keep your left knee bent and slide your right leg out, keeping your heel in contact with the mat. And just take a pause here. Arms can relax, or if you feel nervous, you can hold your block. And then slide your right foot in. Slide the left leg out. Make sure your heel is making contact with that mat. And then come back in. Pause. How did it feel on the right and left? If you need to make a little adjustment with the block, go ahead and do that. Now slide your right leg out. If you're comfortable, and you're okay here to slide the left leg out. If you're still comfortable, extend the arms overhead. And as you do this, instead of your chest dropping down, pull your chest up like it's trying to touch your chin. And you might have to wiggle and move your legs out a little bit longer. Breathe deep. Some of you may feel a lot of stretch. Some of you may feel nothing. All of our bodies are different. Slowly draw the feet in. Lift and lower the arms. Lift your hips and release. If you're like, thanks a lot, Tiffany, I did not have a block. So here's the first movement. We have the block at the center of the mat. You're going to roll your hands underneath your glutes, and you're going to pull up on your elbows and take your head back. Knees are bent. For those of you that didn't have the block for the other movement, you can lift up. It's a lot of leg work though. You would send the leg out. Come back in, send out, come back in, and then you could just release down. You wouldn't send your legs out and lift up and hold here. There's no benefit. It's a lot of strain for the glutes to lift and hold when your heels are out long. So that's another option if you did not have a block, and if you need to pause and take yourself through this variation that I just showed you without a prop, go ahead and do that. But when you're ready, I want you to hug both shins into the body, this double wind press, and give a little roll across your back. Time always flies when we're having fun. So release your left foot to the earth and bring your right leg up to the sky. Nice big hamstring stretch here. You can even straighten out your left leg, deepening the sensation. If you're doing that, I need you to bend your knees so you can cross your right ankle over the thigh and come into figure four. And either stay here or start going into reclining pigeon, lifting your knee over your hip. If you want to thread the needle, reach the arms around and through, and then hug that leg to the body. Use your right elbow to keep that knee from dropping to your chest. Then we release the right foot to the earth, send the left leg up to the sky. Hamstring or calf, avoid that knee joint. Again, you can straighten the right leg. See what that feels like for you. What do you need at this time? Then as you bend the knee, you're going to take the left ankle over the thigh, open that knee up. Stay here, lift into reclining pigeon, or thread the needle so you can bind this pose. Make sure you're not rolling to the left hip, you're keeping your right hip firmly planted towards the mat. Feel like your back is flat on the mat. Let's release our feet to the earth. Open into Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined bound angle. A lot of pressure for some of us on those inner hips as we start to turn the knees out. If you're not comfortable here, go right into your Shavasana. Otherwise, stay here, place one hand on the heart, the other hand on the stomach. 3 rounds of your 3-part breath. So soften your belly as you inhale, press it to the sky, bring your heart to the sun, behind the throat. Exhale, release from the throat, behind the heart, and the belly button. 2 more rounds. You can release the arms. You can then release the legs for Shavasana to the corners of the mat. Soften the jaw. I want you to imagine you're right by the ocean. And as you hear the waves come in and out, that ebb and flow, I want you to match your breath to the pace of your ocean. And I say your ocean because you have to imagine where you're going to be at. Maybe it's beautiful white sandy beach. You can hear the seagulls. You can smell the salty air. There's a gentle breeze coming across the body to keep you at that perfect temperature. You're floating between wanting to fall asleep and still hearing people and birds around you, still hearing the ocean. Start to come back to this moment by wiggling fingers and toes. You can stretch the arms overhead and then reach long through fingers and toes, this nice big awakening stretch. And then slowly release the upper body, but send your knees in towards your chest if you'd like. And then give a hug of those legs to the body. Little roll across your back. And then when you're ready, slowly roll yourself to one side, coming into that sideline pose. And if there's anything you need to leave, to just let go. Take a nice big inhale. Then sigh it out. Press into those hands, rise up into easy seated, whatever that looks like for you. I want you to bring your hands to your heart if you're comfortable. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to press play or join me live. I appreciate your time. We can smile and finish with namaste. Have a wonderful day, morning, evening, afternoon, whenever you started to watch this, and I'll see you on the mat again.